What happens when love takes a dangerous turn? This is the story of Ashley Wadsworth, a young woman whose dream of a perfect relationship became something she couldn't escape. But what do you do when the person you trust the most becomes the one who hurts you? Ashley Wadsworth was a bright and curious young woman from Vernon, British Columbia. Born in 2002, she always had big dreams, particularly about exploring the world. She wanted to experience different places, meet new people, and see what life had to offer. But it wasn't until she started talking to a boy online that things began to take an unexpected and dangerous turn. Today, we're sharing Ashley's story. It's not just a reminder about the risks of online relationships, but also a warning about how trust, control, and manipulation can slowly take over someone's life. But before further ado, I need you to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to avoid missing any new videos. Your support means a lot to us. In this documentary, we will look at a real case that happened. Ashley grew up in a small but close-knit family in Vernon, British Columbia. As the youngest of two daughters, she was surrounded by love and support. She had a bright personality, always eager to explore new things. Whether it was school, art, or outdoor activities, Ashley gave everything her full attention. She naturally drew people in, made friends easily, and formed strong connections. Her adventurous spirit set her apart. She wasn't the type to stay in one place for too long. Even as a child, she talked about seeing the world, traveling to new places, and experiencing life beyond her small town. When she was 12, Ashley was introduced to a boy named Jack Seal by a mutual friend. Jack was 16 and lived in Chelmsford, England. At first, their conversations were casual, just two kids chatting online about their daily lives. But as time went on, they started talking more often. Ashley was fascinated by the idea of having a friend from another country, someone who lived in a place she had always dreamed of visiting. Jack was different from the boys Ashley knew in Canada. He had a British accent, a way with words, and a maturity that made him seem older than he was. He told her stories about life in England, making it sound exciting and full of possibilities. Ashley was drawn to that. She loved hearing about new places, different cultures, and anything that made the world feel bigger. She spent more and more time talking to Jack, often staying up late just to keep their conversations going. Their friendship quickly turned into something deeper. By the time Ashley was in her early teens, she was emotionally invested in Jack. It didn't matter that they had never met in person. She felt like she knew him better than anyone else. He was always there, texting her, calling her, making her feel special. Over time, their bond became a routine, something Ashley depended on. Jack made her feel important, like she was the only person in his world. And for a while, that was enough. But as their relationship grew, so did Jack's need for control. At first, it was small things, asking who she was hanging out with, checking when she was online. Ashley didn't think much of it. She thought it was sweet that he cared so much. But gradually, his questions became more persistent. He didn't like it when she spent too much time with her male classmates. He wanted to know who she was texting and why. If she didn't reply to his messages fast enough, he would get upset. He told her it was because he missed her, that he just wanted to feel close to her. Ashley believed him. By the time Ashley was in high school, Jack had become a permanent part of her life. Her family knew about him, her friends had heard his name, and she talked about visiting England one day to finally meet him in person. To the outside world, it seemed like a harmless long-distance relationship. But behind the scenes, things weren't so simple. Jack was unpredictable. Sometimes he was affectionate, sending her long messages about how much he loved her. Other times he would pull away, ignoring her for days and then coming back with grand apologies. He would say he couldn't live without her, that she was the only person who truly understood him. When they fought, it was intense. Jack would accuse Ashley of not caring about him enough, of not putting him first. And when Ashley tried to walk away, he would do whatever it took to pull her back in. As the years passed, their relationship became something Ashley couldn't easily escape. She had built her teenage years around Jack. Her plans, her dreams, even her future trips revolved around the idea of finally being with him. She had convinced herself that what they had was special, that no one else could understand their connection. But what Ashley didn't realize was that she was slowly losing control over her own life. She had let Jack's emotions dictate her actions, his approval express her happiness. She didn't see the warning signs. Not yet. At first, Ashley thought Jack was just a caring boyfriend. He always wanted to know where she was, who she was with, and what she was doing. If she didn't reply to his messages right away, he would get upset. He would ask if she was ignoring him or if she was talking to someone else. Ashley brushed it off as normal relationship behavior. She told herself it was because he loved her. Over time, Jack's questions became more frequent. He wanted to know everything. If Ashley spent time with friends, especially male friends, he would demand to know why. He started making comments about the people in her life, suggesting that some of them didn't care about her or were bad influences. At first, Ashley defended them. But after enough arguments, she started to believe him. She found herself talking to her friends less and spending more time focused on Jack. When Ashley made plans to go out, Jack would guilt trip her. He would say he missed her, that he didn't understand why she needed to be around other people when she had him. If she pushed back, he would turn cold, sometimes ignoring her for hours or even days. When he finally spoke to her again, he would act like she was the one who had hurt him. He would say things like, "I guess I'm not important to you anymore." Ashley hated upsetting him. She wanted to keep him happy, so she started making small changes to avoid conflict. She stopped going out as much. She avoided certain friends, especially if she thought it would lead to an argument. She reassured Jack constantly, telling him he was the only one she cared about. But no matter what she said, it was never enough. By the time Ashley turned 18, Jack's control over her was stronger than ever. The way he spoke to her had changed. He wasn't just asking where she was. He was telling her where she should be. He didn't want her talking to other guys at all. If he thought she was being too friendly with someone, he would accuse her of not respecting their relationship. If she disagreed, he would find a way to turn the argument against her. Jack had a way of making Ashley feel guilty even when she had done nothing wrong. He told her that if she really loved him, she wouldn't need anyone else. He made her believe that their relationship was different, that no one else would ever understand them. And Ashley, after years of hearing the same things over and over, started to believe it too. Jack had moments where he was kind and affectionate, reminding Ashley why she had fallen for him in the first place. But these moments always came after a fight, after he had pushed her away and made her feel like she was losing him. He knew exactly when to pull her back in. He would apologize, tell her how much she meant to him, and promise to be better. And every time, Ashley forgave him. The cycle repeated itself over and over. Jack would get jealous. They would fight. He would make her feel guilty, and then he would win her back with sweet words and promises. Each time, his control tightened just a little more. Ashley's friends started to notice the change in her. She wasn't as social as she used to be. She was always on her phone, answering Jack's messages. When she did go out, she seemed distracted. If someone brought up Jack's name, she either got defensive or tried to change the subject. Some of her closest friends tried to talk to her about it, but she didn't want to hear it. She told them they didn't understand her relationship. Her family noticed too. Her sister, Haley, saw how much time Ashley spent talking to Jack and how her mood depended on him. Their mother, Christy, had always been skeptical of the relationship, but as Ashley got older, she felt like there was nothing she could do. She had already told Ashley her concerns, but Ashley didn't want to listen. She was in love, and she believed Jack loved her too. Jack's control didn't stop at emotional manipulation. He started pushing boundaries in other ways too. He convinced Ashley to share her social media passwords with him, telling her that couples shouldn't have secrets. He would scroll through her messages, looking for anything that might make him suspicious. If he found something he didn't like, even an old conversation from before they started dating, he would bring it up and use it against her. When Ashley blocked certain people from her phone, Jack saw it as a sign that she was hiding something. If she ever mentioned a male friend, he would demand to know everything about them. If she didn't answer fast enough, he would accuse her of lying. And when Ashley got frustrated, Jack always had a way of turning things around. He would say she was overreacting, that she was making a big deal out of nothing. Ashley had spent years defending Jack. Every time someone pointed out a red flag, she had an excuse ready. She told people that Jack had a rough past, that he had trust issues, and that he just cared about her too much. She had convinced herself that his behavior was a sign of love, not control. But by the time she was old enough to make her own decisions, Jack's influence had shaped almost every part of her life. She didn't just want to visit him in England. She felt like she needed to. She had spent so many years building a relationship with him, and now she was ready to take the next step. She thought being with him in person would fix everything. She had no idea how wrong she was. At 19, Ashley finally did what she had been dreaming of for years. She packed her bags, said goodbye to her family, and hopped on a plane to England to meet Jack in person. After all the late-night calls and texts and the waiting, it was finally time. She was excited, nervous, and ready to see if their relationship could survive the distance. What should have been the happiest moment of Ashley's life turned out to be anything but. To everyone else, things seemed perfect. On social media, Ashley posted pictures of her and Jack looking like the perfect couple. They explored England together, went sightseeing, and smiled for the camera like any happy pair. But behind those photos, things weren't as they seemed. The more Ashley settled into Jack's life, the more she felt like she was losing her own. Jack's jealousy and control only grew stronger once Ashley was in England. She noticed it right away. He didn't want her talking to anyone else, even if it was just a neighbor or someone she'd met briefly. If she spent too much time away from him, he'd get upset. And if she did anything that didn't involve him, he would find a way to make her feel guilty about it. He made it clear that everything in her life should revolve around him. Ashley began to feel like a prisoner in her relationship. The constant pressure to be available to Jack was exhausting. She couldn't go anywhere without him questioning her. She couldn't have a simple conversation with someone else without him accusing her of being unfaithful. The freedom she once had was slipping away. At first, she tried to make excuses for Jack's behavior, telling herself that maybe he was just insecure. But as the days turned into weeks, she started realizing that it wasn't just insecurity. It was control. Jack didn't just want to be part of her life. He wanted to be the only thing in it. While Ashley tried to stay positive for her friends and family back home, the cracks in her relationship with Jack were growing wider. She wasn't sharing everything with her family anymore. Her social media posts were just a glimpse of the happiness she wanted to show the world, but they didn't reflect what was happening behind closed doors. Ashley had stopped posting anything real. She didn't want anyone to see how much things had changed. It was easier to pretend everything was fine than to admit how trapped she felt. The longer she stayed with Jack, the more isolated she became. Her friends, her family, no one knew what was going on. Jack made sure of that. He had a way of making Ashley believe that anyone who wasn't him couldn't be trusted. The things she once loved, talking to her family and going out with friends, became harder and harder to do. Every time she reached out to someone else, Jack would find a way to make her feel like she was betraying him. As the months went by, Ashley became more withdrawn. She stopped telling her family when things weren't going well. She was afraid they would judge her, or worse, try to pull her away from Jack. The dream she had of visiting England and meeting Jack had quickly turned into a nightmare she couldn't escape. And the longer she stayed with him, the harder it became to see a way out. Ashley was stuck. After just a few weeks in England, Ashley realized that being with Jack in person was nothing like she had imagined. The moments of affection and excitement she had once felt were being replaced with fear and isolation. Jack was no longer the distant, caring boyfriend who had showered her with attention online. Now he was unpredictable, controlling, and easily angered. It started with small things. He didn't like her talking to neighbors. He didn't want her to make friends. When she mentioned wanting to attend church, he shut it down immediately. At first, Ashley thought he just preferred spending time alone with her. But then it became clear. He didn't want her around anyone but him. The more Ashley tried to connect with others, the worse Jack got. If she even mentioned leaving the house without him, he would start a fight. If she wanted to call her family, he would question why she needed to talk to them so much. Any attempt at independence was treated like a betrayal. Ashley tried to be careful. She started texting friends in secret, knowing that if Jack found out, there would be consequences. She wasn't sure what he would do, but she didn't want to find out. His anger became impossible to ignore. He would explode over small things, raising his voice and throwing things around the room. There were moments when she thought about leaving, about booking a ticket home and never looking back. But then Jack would switch back to the person she once knew, apologizing, saying he didn't mean to get so upset, telling her he loved her and couldn't live without her. Ashley wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe that things would get better, but they didn't. By early 2022, Jack's behavior had reached a new level of aggression. His jealousy turned into paranoia. He started going through her phone, accusing her of hiding things from him. No matter how much Ashley reassured him, it was never enough. He was convinced she would leave him. Then, during an argument, he became violent. It wasn't just shouting or throwing objects anymore. This time, he put his hands on her. Ashley was left bruised, terrified, and unsure of what to do. She had never experienced anything like this before. She wanted to believe that it was a one-time mistake, but deep down, she knew it wasn't. Still, she stayed. Jack begged for forgiveness, swearing that he would never do it again. He told her he had just lost control for a moment, that it was her fault for making him angry. Ashley, exhausted and afraid, didn't know how to fight back. She convinced herself that if she just kept him calm, if she avoided saying the wrong thing, she could prevent it from happening again. But she was wrong. On February 1st, 2022, everything changed. A neighbor overheard shouting coming from Jack's house. The yelling was intense, the kind of argument that made people stop what they were doing and listen. Moments later, Ashley knocked on the neighbor's door. She looked shaken, her face pale. Her voice was quiet as she admitted she was scared. She told them she was planning to leave, that she was finally going home to Canada. For the first time, she seemed ready to walk away. But the next day, it was too late. Ashley never made it back home. By February 2nd, 2022, Ashley's family had grown desperate. Days had passed since they last heard from her, and their calls and messages went unanswered. It wasn't like Ashley to disappear without a word. She was always in touch, especially with her family. The silence felt off, and the worry started to build. Ashley's mother, Christy, and her sister, Haley, tried to reach her but had no luck. After several attempts, they knew they had to do something. Fearing for her safety, they called the police. Officers arrived at Jack Seal's home, unsure of what they might find. When they knocked on the door, there was no response. They rang the bell, but again, nothing. The situation was growing more unsettling by the minute. The police made the difficult decision to break into the house. What they discovered inside would change everything. They found Ashley, lifeless, a victim of brutal violence. The man she had trusted, the person she thought she loved, had ended her life. Jack's obsession with her, once masked as love, had turned deadly. No one could have seen it coming. The relationship that began so innocently, based on late-night chats and distant dreams, had ended in a horrifying reality. Ashley's family was left in shock. The young woman who had so much to offer the world, who was just beginning to live out her dreams, was gone. She was a victim of manipulation and control, and her life was taken by the very person who was supposed to care for her the most. The pain of that loss was something no one could prepare for. In the wake of Ashley's death, the legal system stepped in. Jack Seal was arrested at the scene and later charged with murder. His once romantic gestures, his promises of love, his constant need to be with Ashley. These were all part of a pattern that had become dangerous. His obsession with her, which had once seemed harmless, had cost Ashley her life. After his arrest, Jack was sentenced to life in prison. The man who took Ashley's future away would never be able to harm anyone else again. But no amount of justice could bring Ashley back. Her family was left to pick up the pieces, mourning a daughter, a sister, and a friend who had so much potential. They now share Ashley's story in the hope that others will see the warning signs before it's too late. They want people to understand how an innocent online friendship can evolve into something much more toxic and dangerous. Ashley's story is a painful reminder that not all relationships are healthy, even when they seem perfect on the outside. Obsessive love and control can hide behind kind words and thoughtful gestures. Her family hopes that by sharing what happened, others might recognize the signs of manipulation and maybe prevent the same tragedy from happening to someone else. If you found Ashley's story meaningful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's start a conversation about online relationships, the dangers of controlling behavior, and how we can protect ourselves and those we love from harmful relationships. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a video like this. Thank you for watching. Remember, no one deserves to feel trapped or unsafe in a relationship. If you or someone you know is struggling, don't hesitate to reach out for help. There are people out there who care and can offer support.